Hi everyone, this is Alert Day Trading. The purpose of this video and the videos I make is to journal my trades, notice any mistakes I'm making, focus on good behaviors I'm doing, and if you can learn from my mistakes and my good behaviors, that's definitely a bonus. So I just want to journal. I took 2 trades today, 3 entries, but basically 2 trades, and the first trade I took was FATE, and I noticed that it was popping up on one of these scanners. I'm pretty sure it was just it was getting a lot of attention this morning, and if you look at the all-time chart, you'll notice that we are trading in the all-time high range. So you can see we are breaking above these levels in the last 2 months, a month and a half or so. And if you look at the weekly chart, it's also looking really good. And I liked it because if you'll see, we broke above right here and we created these new highs, and we had a pullback, and then now we're pushing up again. We're pushing up above these highs right here again, and possibly approaching this high over here, and possibly for a continuation. This might be an interesting swing trade. I wouldn't necessarily enter it here just because this could be a fake out, so I would wait personally for the break above this high, and then a pullback, and then another break as a swing trade. So I'm not too crazy about these double highs here, but at least for a day trade, I can see potential for these highs right here, so the $37. And when I took the trade, we were trading at the lower red line right here. Let's make this a little bigger so it's easier to see. And so if you will zoom in, here's a 3-minute chart, and so here you can see we pushed up above this red line, and then we had a pullback, and that red line was holding. So I saw potential right there. And so if we start with the 1-minute chart, you'll see it was doing nicely. Let's see, I used, the 1-minute chart, and you can see it did really well. And I added to my size as the 3-minute chart was also looking good. And then the last chart I used was the 5-minute, because that was the last chart. And then that was the last chart that had a red candle that I look for. We broke above these highs, and as you can see, we went from 32.20s all the way up to 35.19. My entry was 33. Well, my 1-minute entry was right above these candles, so 32. Let's see here. Was 32.62. So above these candles right here, and then you can see the 3-minute. We were possibly looking for a break above $33, and the 5-minute the same. So my second entry was over here, so I added to my size. This was a really good trade for me. The 1-minute time frame, I ended up with a risk to reward of 1 to almost 5, and potentially if I sold at the highs, it would have been almost a 1 to 6 risk to reward. The 3-minute and the 5-minute chart ended up being a risk to reward of about 1 to 2, which is definitely also really good. I like at the minimum to try to get to a 1 to 2 risk to reward, and anything after that is going to be a bonus. Potentially, if I sold at 35.19s, we're looking at a risk to reward of about 1 to 2.2. But I sold at 34.80s, trying to get to the 34.90s, and then I was hoping that we could approach the 37 range. I still think we have potential, but the volume's really low, so I just ended up stopping below this candle right here. So I exited the position completely, even though I was taking profits at the $35 mark, like right under it. So ultimately, this was a great trade. The only thing that I could possibly say is the negative is that if you look at the weekly chart again, it's that we're not completely at the all-time high, but I thought this was a continuation of the overall trend, and we were consolidating at this red line, so I thought the potential is really great, and we are pretty much near the all-time highs. So there's my reasoning behind trading all-time highs is you're with the overall trend of the stock. So I personally think you can still be wrong, and you have more chances of ending up being lucky in terms of you're still riding the direction of the overall trend. And even if you're off by a little bit, the odds are still in your favor that the trend will continue. Obviously, you still have to put your stop losses in case the trend goes against you. But I feel like I'm stacking the odds in my favor by trading these stocks that are, obviously we had this big pullback over here on the weekly chart, but you can see the trend is definitely on an upward trend. And we already had a couple red candles here, and we had a break above this red candle and above these highs. So I personally think we're going to eventually reach the $37 mark, and I probably won't trade this as we approach this red line. I thought that the risk to reward was nice being at the lower red, so I'm going to look for a break above these highs, and then I'll probably go in for another day trade. If I'm looking to swing trade, then I'll probably wait for the break above 37, wait for the pullback, and then look for the continuation there. So, and I took another trade. It was FMCI, and you'll see this chart is really nice. No resistance here. I wasn't crazy about the fact that, so here we're breaking the highs, right? And then we had a pre-market high of 15, right? So I was waiting for the break above that $15 mark, and we did get it. However, I was not looking at the stock. I was probably still in the other trade. And here's the 1 minute. I probably would have taken a loss on the 1 minute chart if I had taken the trade. Let's see the 3 minute. This one I probably would have been a little bit better with, because you can see we broke above here and we ended up going to 1570s. So about a 40-cent move, risking about 40 cents. So that would have been about a 1-to-1 risk to reward. Obviously we're looking for a break above 16, so I think the risk to reward would have been really nice in the 3 minute time frame. And the 5 minute, you never really got the red candle that I look for, so I probably would have just ended up taking a small loss on the 1 minute and then a small gain on the 3 minute. when I started looking at it, it was about in this area, and then you can see we had a huge decline all the way down to the $14 mark. So I was waiting. I was still interested if we could break above the $15, which we did, and I ended up taking a small trade on it. I ended up taking a 5-minute trade, and you can see we pulled back and consolidated, and I bought at the break above this candle right here, and my first profit target would have been 1530s, just because I'm risking about 24 cents. So if I'm buying at 1511, 1510, my first profit target would have been 1535, and we were very close to it. The high of this candle ended up being 1525, so we were about just under 10 cents from getting to my first profit target, and then I would have ended up raising my stop loss to break even. But as you can see, the volume was so low, I ended up raising my stop loss to break even and a little bit above break even, just because I noticed that the stock was stalling. Once we hit around 1525s, the price just kind of stopped. And usually when that happens, especially with low volume, I notice you end up with a big drop. So I put my stop losses pretty much at break even, so I ended up taking a very small loss. I mean, as small as you can take a loss almost. And so I'm considering this a break-even trade. And I'm okay with the trade I took, and I'm also happy with my strict risk management. So if we had more volume, we probably would have ended up possibly retesting these highs and maybe for a push above. But it just didn't work out. So probably when you see these red candles here, everyone, as you can see, tends to go away from the stock. But we did also climb back up, and I was looking for the continuation. That just did not happen. No big deal. Anyway, just to remind you, the purpose of this video and the videos I make is to journal my trades, notice any mistakes I'm making, focus on good behaviors. If you can learn from any of my mistakes and good behaviors, that's definitely a bonus. So if you have any questions, let me know, and good luck.